Hey y'all, it's the Country Notary. Hope you're having a great day. As always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Kind of messing with my hair today. Today's video is in today's video I will talk about my top 3 notary errors. Top 3 loan signing notary errors, and maybe even a fourth one. Actually a fourth one, because it basically happened today. So where do I start? I'm kind of messing with my hair. I went to Houston today and got my hair retightened, got my hair redid, and it's sticking up in odd spots. But guess we'll have to deal with that. Even have some hair on my lip. Top 4 errors in my 9 months as a notary, public loan signing agent, all related to loan signing. So here we go. And these again are in no particular order. And I hope I can remember all 3, because I do pride myself in error-free work, but things happen. And as a footnote, none of my errors have caused a loan not to fund. No funding errors, no notarial errors. So knock on wood for that. So here we go. Top 4 loan signing notary errors. Number 4, or maybe even number 1, who knows? Number 4. On a busy Friday, and I've talked in a previous video, Fridays are the busiest. The last Friday of the month is the busiest day of the month. And I had taken off that day, or I was off for the summer, and I had, I think, 3 or 4 loan signings in one day. So executed all the signings, set up all the documents to be shipped off the next day, to be FedEx the next day. It was late on Friday when the last 2 or 3 closings happened after the last drop. So that's how busy the day was. And I basically had to drop those. I remember having to drop 3. For some reason, FedEx was closed. The details are a little gray, but the point will be made. And got them all set in the pouches, labeled, stacked neatly. Next morning, I was attending a training class with my neighbor, not related to the notary business. We were going to a training class, another topic, and we whipped by FedEx and dropped the packages off. Thought I was doing something. They actually in the drop box. It was early in the morning. They hadn't opened yet, even though that location is open on Saturday. Dropped them in the drop box, went off to our training, and on Monday afternoon, I received an email from the title company. Very brief, very professional. Hello, Dana. We are tracking the package, and we haven't picked up tracking on it. I'm like, oh, picked up tracking. That sounds kind of serious. So I picked up tracking, reading between the lines. Oh my God, the package. And when I looked closer at the email said we are tracking the UPS tracking number. We haven't picked up tracking. I'm like, I had dropped the package at FedEx with the other packages. It was harrowing, guys, or harrowing, whatever the word is. I tried calling FedEx, calling the 800 number. There's no local number. I was panicking. I didn't know how to respond back to the title company, and I didn't get off from work until about 3:20, so I wouldn't have made it to FedEx. It was just a nightmare. I didn't even have a next step. So I emailed her back, and guys, here's the moral point of the story. Running professional business, being accountable for your errors and correcting them. I emailed the title company back and basically let them know that I dropped the documents, but my fear was, well, not my fear, that I had dropped them at FedEx. There was nothing else I could say or do at that point, because I hadn't gone to UPS. It was my very first UPS, maybe second UPS package, and I just had gotten in such a habit, routine, and slipped up. Okay, so got to FedEx, and real quickly, it was kind of not funny at the time, but kind of funny to tell now. Got to FedEx and explained to the agent what happened. Now, mind you, I go into this facility at least 3 times a week, this particular location, minimum, sometimes more. And they know me. They don't know me by name because I'm always shipping someone else's packages, but they know me, right? I go in there, and the agent is kind of brief with me and like, well, basically there's a procedure, and UPS will do a sweep, and they'll come by. It's kind of common. People do it commonly. No big deal. They'll make a sweep in about 3 or 4 days, and when they come through, they pick up all the packages and they'll ship it. I'm like, 3 or 4 days? No, that's not going to work. And I said 3 or 4 days. So she's being really vague and ambiguous, like she wasn't going to give me any extra customer service. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. I'm like, so are you saying that they'll come in 3 or 4 days to make the sweep? Yes, they usually come every 3 or 4 days. And I said, well, I just dropped the package on Saturday. Today is Monday. So do you think they made the sweep? Because I know you guys were closed Sunday and it's Monday. Well, it's 3 or 4 days. Oh, well, maybe. Well, okay, I'll go back and check. Ask probing questions, guys. Probe. She went back and checked. About 2 or 3 minutes later, I'm about to, sweat bullets. She walks back in to the counter with a envelope in her hand. It was my package, y'all. The sweep had not been made. She went back there and got my package. That saved me. Emailed the title company right away, went to UPS, dropped it. And even though it was an error, they appreciated my follow-up and she thanked me. I don't think I've gotten any signings from that particular title company, since then. But really, that's not the point because, a company in California, and I do get a lot of business, anyway, but not to say that they've not had any more signings in this area because, again, we live in a small market. But long story short, I solved it, and perseverance, picked it up, corrected it, and again, being a notary public is being a problem solver. Mistake number two, and I hope I don't forget the third one because these are good. Mistake number 2, I finally got a signing from a company, I guess a well-known company. I've heard other notaries refer to them, First American Title or First Title, and, good company to work with. The fee was great. I think it was a big fee, $150. It was Good Friday, y'all. And it was late. It was maybe a 7:30 p.m. appointment, which was really odd. The client was upset because he didn't want a late appointment, but for some reason he wanted to do it the next day. And the documents, of course, are date sensitive. And I explained to him we couldn't. And so I went over, did the signing with him and his whole family, 2 girls, 2 boys, whole big family and a dog, all involved with the signing. So executed the signing, no problem, went off well, and got home. And I was so excited because of this First American Title. It was a scan back. Came home, scanned the documents back, confirmed the closing went successfully. Documents were scanned, attached, email. Will be dropped, Monday morning. About 5 minutes after I emailed the scan back, my phone rang. I hadn't even changed clothes yet. It was like 9:15 at night, and it was a phone number from out of state, Pennsylvania, Ohio, something like that. And it was a title company, and she was a little jittery and nervous. She was like, Miss Dana, blah blah blah. The documents were scanned back, weird, and all the legal documents were cut off, and especially the notice of right to cancel, they were cut off. Everything was like legal. Letter. Did you set your scanner to letter? And I was like, oh my God, I was terrified. I was kind of new, relatively new. This was only like my 3rd or 4th month, and it was a big company. And I checked my settings of my scanner. Lo and behold, they had been changed. I had never ever touched them, but they had somehow been changed to letter. It's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Grabbed the package, ripped up, opened the FedEx thingy. I had already sealed it up, rescanned it properly, emailed it to her, and she was, of course, grateful and genuine. And I think I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but I don't remember. Oddly, we had been emailing all evening about this late signing, back and forth between me, her, and the lender. And finally, they got their documents together, and I agreed to the closing. And it was late. The appointment literally took it till 7:30 because they didn't send the documents on time. Got to did this, executed the signing, had the error with the scan back, and emailed her, and then everything was great. So here we go. It was late. It was like really late by then. Went to bed, woke up the next morning, looked at the document, looked at the PDF. There was no FedEx label or UPS label with the documents. And she goes, oh, so-and-so at the lender was supposed to attach that. And I'm like, well, it's not there. So she checked, it wasn't there. And of course they needed them by Monday. And she didn't have the account number, for some reason, couldn't send me a label. I'm like, well, that's kind of odd. So I volunteered to FedEx them, paid for it, so she could have them by Monday. She It was like $65, which was crazy, and added it to my invoice, and she agreed, and they paid me for that. So one, error led to a good deed, and salvaged my relationship with them. I've actually done lots of signings with that company since then. Error number 3. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me make sure I say this right. Right. Don't chase the great and ignore the good. Don't chase the great and ignore the good. I saw a quote recently that was similar to that, but it was flipped. Don't chase the good and ignore the great. No, don't listen to them. Don't chase the great and ignore the good. I've said this before. Don't chase a bag, y'all. Do not chase. A couple of weeks ago, I broke my own rule and I chased the bag. And it hit me hard. Okay? And it's sad. This is a long story and I've learned from it. So what you're about to hear, do not do this. Again, on a Friday, my schedule's booked for the day. My signings are evenly spaced apart, all printed, prepped in the envelopes, in the folders, in my bag, ready to go. And I received a notice. I was receiving notices, back to back. My notifications were just blowing up. And I finally, throughout the day, I ignored most of them because I was already booked. I received an order that would fit perfectly between 2 afternoon appointments. And also it was great because the last minute notification that I'm speaking of was literally on the way back from another signing that I had already booked, printed, confirmed, documents ready to go. Of course, not that order, but you know what I mean. So I took the signing and they called me, emailed it out, called me, good fee. Last minute assignments usually carry a good fee. And once I opened the document, red flag number 1, it was over 200 and something pages. It was probably 270 plus. And of course you print 2 sets. So that was red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, when I called the client, and actually this is in reverse order, when I called the client to confirm, he was very wishy-washy about accepting the appointment, committing to a time. He even indicated that he wasn't sure about the loan terms. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And I, standard response, call your lender, talk to your lender. And if the appointment is a go, if the appointment is canceled, I'm sure they'll call me. But if the appointment is a go, we need to confirm a time. We went back and forth about 3 different phone calls. I'm at work, we're hauling some stuff. I got to tear down the house, like extreme tasks, that he had to do and not be busy, not be available. So we finally agreed to a time-ish. I leave the house because I have 2 appointments, remember, back to back, and then I come to FedEx and drop everything off correctly. And I call him, I stopped for gas. I called him from the gas station just to confirm again. And when he answered the phone, he was like, well, I talked to my lender and I don't think I'm going to go through with the loan. And I said, well, great, sir. I didn't say great probably, but it is your loan. You have the right to cancel. If anything changes, I'll talk to you soon. Because at that point I had been like, forget this. He's already gone back and forth a few times. It won't confirm. The packages were thick, like almost 500 pages when printed. And I had already contacted his lender. We had talked 3 or 4 times. So it was a big time drain. Probably worked on it about an hour and a half, including just the phone calls, waiting for him to call me back, etc. And in the midst of all that, when I put in the address for the appointment that preceded his, and in Google Maps, and the time came back that I would be about 20 minutes late because of traffic. Had I left about 10 minutes before, not going back and forth with this guy in this big package, I would have been on time. And again, chasing the great because of a great fee they were offering. And I already booked an appointment, had it booked on the books, and messed it up because I was late. Don't chase the great and ignore the good. So when I called the client who had already booked, who had already printed the documents, prepped, confirmed the time, when I had to call her back to let her know I would be late, it was a problem because they had something else to do and it would run over into their already booked appointment, and they were not upset, but you could tell they were a little not uneasy. We tried to reschedule for the next day. They actually tried to reschedule me for the next day, but I had a full day, a tournament, officiate volleyball. So, and I felt bad. There was nothing I could do, and I lost the signing. And I had worked with that company before, and hopefully they don't hold that against me. That was mistake number 3. Okay, so finally, and again, I've learned, don't overbook yourself. Don't take last minute appointments, new notaries. Don't take last minute appointments as if you're new, and even if you have a few months of experience or a little more seasoned. Late appointments can disrupt your day. They can disrupt your schedule, and if one incident happens that could push your next appointment back and be late for something that you've already booked, it's never worked out for me. This is like the second or third time this has happened. I've either had to cancel that appointment or call the client and ask, if it was okay if I would be 15 minutes late. And a couple of times they've agreed just because I took an extra appointment. And I literally don't do that anymore because I can't rush myself, because I have other businesses that I'm working on and research and reading, and time is valuable. And I space my appointments far enough apart now where that's not a problem. And may lose an appointment here or there, but I've made it not be a problem. I've just made it, and my business runs a lot more smoothly, and I get a lot more closings. Magically get a lot more closings. I don't know if it's magic. I don't know if it's the universe, but pace yourself, space your appointments correctly on your calendar, on your schedule, and don't overbook yourself. Don't chase the great and ignore the good. Okay. Last one. So why am I making this video today? Like I said, I went to Houston today, got my hair redone. Love it. It feels so fluffy and totally awesome. I'm really enjoying this hairstyle. For those of you who follow me, thanks again for following my channel. These are sister locks. I get them done in Houston by Jocelyn. I don't know Jocelyn's official business name, but if she wants me to give her a plug, I definitely will. I think in a couple of months or so, it's going to be totally awesome. Okay, why am I making this video today? Coming back from in Houston, almost finished with my appointment, got a call for a notary job. And so I'm going to make that error number 4 for y'all, for everyone watching. Do not leave your notary bag at home. Reverse that. Always travel with your notary bag. I packed the truck, thought of all the things I needed for the day. I'd be gone for a length of time because it's a drive there, a little drive back, time spent getting the appointment. And throughout the hustle and bustle of getting ready and leaving, I thought about my notary bag, which is my main bag during the week. I had already repacked the purse and thought about it, but because I was rushing, forgot my notary bag. And as a result, I got a call to do a notary job. It was a small paying job, don't get me wrong, but had I had my notary bag with me, it was literally on my way home. I would have pulled over at a local McDonald's and signed the documents for the lady. So we're gonna have to ride back out there tomorrow. I've already confirmed an appointment with her tomorrow, but I wanted to mention that. Do not leave your notary bag at home. Travel with your bag, lock it in the trunk, in a secure spot. You never know when someone's gonna call you. This has happened to me before. I 99% of the time travel with it, give or take, even on Sundays, because even at church, somebody might text you and you can hit them up on your way home. It's happened a lot of Sundays. So always travel with your notary bag. Those are my top 4 errors, guys. Thanks for spending this time. It's been it's been great sharing this with you. My email address is, as always, in the description of this video. Hit me up if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Leave me a chat in the chat of this video. Like this video, as I mentioned earlier. I'd like to hear from you. Are there other topics that you'd like to hear me speak on? Please contact me. Errors do happen. They happen in our business, guys. It's part of the business. We carry errors and omissions insurance because of that. I recommend $100,000 in errors and omissions insurance. It's not, the price is not unreasonable. It is a business expense, obviously. And like I said, I've never had an error that caused a delay in funding. But again, mistakes do happen in the business, and we are problem solvers as notaries. We're the middlemen and women in real estate transactions and many transactions. And if an error or mistake does occur, work with your client to correct that. Work with the signing service or the company that booked you to correct the error, because you are their person, that you're their point of contact for that set of documents, and you are the person they rely on to execute those documents correctly. So at the same time, learn from those issues, and by mitigating those, it'll help your business run a lot more smoothly. It's the Country Notary. Thanks for staying with me throughout the end of this video. Have a great week. Talk to y'all soon.